Hi, I'm Yanis. I run a small embroidery business out of my home, and today I'm going to share my journey on how I built it from scratch and what my experience looked like running this business while attending university and also working a 9 to 5. If you've ever found yourself endlessly watching videos of businesses packing hundreds of orders, wondering if you could ever achieve that level of success, you're definitely not alone. I've put together a little video to hopefully inspire some of you to start a business, even though you feel like you're very overwhelmed with how to begin. This business really started with me and my partner purchasing a $600 embroidery machine on Amazon. We sold mainly on Facebook Marketplace and Etsy, and then later started our own website and promoting on TikTok, which grew into our biggest platform today. But the main reason why I started our small business was because my dad died suddenly in 2020. It was a very sudden cancer diagnosis, and he fell ill within the first few days of finding out. The grief was unlike anything I'd ever experienced before in my life, and it really paralyzed me to the point where I couldn't find the will to work, study, or even socialize with my friends. In the middle of all of this, I had the spark of an idea to start a small business, something to honor his memory. And you know what? That completely changed my life. I went from making minimum wage at Starbucks to making more than my partner and I's 9 to 5 jobs. And that is completely insane. I've broken down the video into a few parts to hopefully help you follow along. During the research and planning phase, one of the most pivotal questions you'll encounter is deciding what exactly you want to sell. The options seem endless, but for me, I always wanted my own customized clothing, and I could never really find it online anywhere. I was inspired by how others could make their own, and I thought it was so meaningful to give someone a customized gift. At first, I only sold embroidered crew necks, but later I added hoodies and tees as I had more cash flow to play with. Another question you need to ask yourself at this stage is, do you plan on outsourcing or handmaking your items from home? I personally decided to handmake my items from home because this way I had full control of the quality, and at the time I also didn't have much money to spend hundreds of dollars on ordering inventory and having the risk of it not selling. By handmaking my orders as they come in, I didn't have to hold any inventory, which also minimizes the risk I take on in the very beginning. Number 2, how are you going to get the products to your customers? I think this was the most daunting part of starting a business. International shipping and even domestic shipping can be very confusing at first. I watched hundreds of videos to try and learn how people shipped parcels, and eventually I discovered Canadian couriers like Chit-Chats and Stallion Express. They both offer cheaper rates in Canada for both domestic and international shipping, and I can print out prepaid labels myself and then drop the parcels off at the post office whenever I wanted to. Depending on what you're selling, shipping will vary. For example, if you're selling stickers, you would most likely be using letter mail or just prepaid stamps. But for us, we use prepaid parcel labels because we ship bigger items like clothing. Number 3, taxes and legal considerations. If you're anything like me, I have no idea what taxes are. My partner takes care of all my taxes, thank God. However, it is very important to make sure you're tracking your income and expenses at the very beginning. We didn't realize how important it was in our first year of operations, as we didn't know we would be making that much revenue to have to pay GST in Canada, which made it very confusing and very hard for my partner to do taxes in our first year. Which brings me to my next point: budgeting. Budgeting and figuring out my finances was one of the biggest challenges with starting a small business. Assessing the initial cost of starting a business was very crucial for me, especially since I was only working a part-time job and had very limited savings. It meant that I had to carefully calculate every expense involved in launching the business, from equipment to marketing, and weighing it against my available funds. This process helped me determine if I was financially ready to take the leap into what I wanted to do. When my partner and I first started our business, we scoured through Facebook Marketplace to find bargains on secondhand items. It was a savvy move that helped us save a bunch of money while still getting the essentials we needed to launch. For our small business, I purchased our embroidery machine for $600. This was a very beginner machine and did the work it needed to do in the beginning of our journey. Packaging, we bought off of Amazon for around $20 to $30. Our printer was $120 off Facebook Marketplace. And then we spent $200 on blank hoodies and crew necks to embroider on. And the label covers were free from Canada Post, which you can also order on the website. I went through a very long process of choosing between Wix or Shopify, and they were both very good options in the beginning. However, we decided to go with Wix at the time as they had a New Year's 50% off promotion, which helped us save on costs. We paid $13 a month at the time, and our total running cost in the beginning was around $1,076. The last part, launching. At this point, all of the hard decisions are out of the way and you're finally going to show the world your products. I think this is the most exciting part. I started my Etsy and website in February of 2021, and it took my partner and I around 3 weeks to complete the website on Wix. At this time, we had taken a semester off of school to start this business, so all of our time was being poured onto this as we didn't have any other priorities. For those of you just starting out without a large following, I highly recommend Etsy as a platform to showcase your products. One of its advantages is its built-in marketplace, which naturally exposes your products to potential customers. However, it is also essential to note that Etsy does charge relatively high fees, totaling around 10 to 11% depending on various factors like how the customer discovered your product and also completed their purchase. But I personally think it's very worth it in the beginning. The reason why we started our own website was because of the Etsy fees. We only pay a processing fee when customers go through our website. We still use both today, Etsy generating around 20 to 30% of our annual revenue compared to our website. Making our embroidered products for the first time was very, very challenging. It was very inconsistent at first, and there was no way I was going to sell those to our customers. It took about a week of trial and error to iron out issues like tension control, color choices, backing, and all other aspects of embroidery that we had no clue about. We wasted a lot of fabric even though we went through YouTube videos and manuals, but once we finally made our products, I was able to list them to my site and also Etsy, and then start posting on social media to showcase them to an audience. After running Percy's Angels for around 3.5 years, I have some lessons that I learned that I would like to share. It was honestly very demotivating posting at some point because I was getting no conversions in the first 2 months of posting. But from this, I learned one big lesson. Consistency actually works. I know it sounds really cliche and that only people who have succeeded would say this. However, by consistently pushing out content, you're developing editing and filming techniques, which also improves the quality of the videos you make in the future. One big lesson I've learned is that business also has its ups and downs. There are times when things are very, very slow, especially in the beginning and the middle of the year, and it can be a real bummer. But then when the holiday season rolls around, it is so busy where you cannot keep up with orders. Understanding this natural rhythm is key. It's not always smooth sailing, but knowing that slow periods are just a part of the deal helps you stay motivated. Something else I learned is that you don't need to buy stuff just because other businesses have it. It's really easy to fall into the trap of thinking you need the latest and fanciest equipment just because other businesses use them. But trust me, it is crucial to be smart about your purchases. Come up with a list of things you know you absolutely need. Start with the essentials, what will actually help you operate your business smoothly and efficiently. Once you have that, be very discriminating about any additional purchases you make. Remember that it's not about having the most things, but having the right stuff. I think this approach has saved us a lot of money and headaches over the years. It allows you to invest in more things that truly matter for your business growth in the future. Next is that I actually recommend to keep to yourself when you're just starting out. I know it might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but hear me out. You don't need everyone to know you're launching a business right away. The early stages are often the most vulnerable, and having fewer eyes on you can actually help reduce the pressure and stress. I think I would have posted more often and more confidently if I knew people I know weren't watching my every move. These are just a few lessons I've learned from running my small business for the past 3.5 years. I hope you found them helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more tips and insights on running a successful small business. Bye!